Are you worried about the climate crisis? Or are you angry, concerned, or in some kind of freeze? Do you want to know more about what we could do to organize against it and understand the science? Do you sometimes wish there was more happening in Eastern Europe and the Balkans about these issues? The Last Fireflies is the podcast for you.
Hello, folks. You are listening to The Last Fireflies, a new radical climate podcast focused on Eastern Europe and the Balkans. My name is Robbie, and together with Ani and Em, we will be the regular hosts of the show. In our episodes, we are motivated by two very practical questions. First of all, what information and community practices would move you from being just interested in climate issues, as we once were, to actually doing political organizing? This is only for those of you who it applies. And two, what are practical tools and knowledges that would help you grow the movement when you have very little resources? This includes, of course, stuff like practical climate actions, which you are able to do when you have only 3 people in the movement, and very low risk taking.
So to start, we will alternate between episodes containing deep dives by our hosts, us, on certain topics. We call these info spill segments. And we will also have talks with guests who are active in the climate movement in Europe, again with a focus on Eastern Europe and the Balkans. However, this show is a work of joy, and we plan to be flexible and playful with the sections and episode structures in the future. So pretty soon you'll be hearing more about what are climate tipping points, what is hot house Earth, how to start a climate movement, how to do citizen science, and much more.
We choose the name The Last Fireflies because fireflies are the fragile beauty of nature and the fleeting light of hope in a world facing environmental collapse. It both reflects wonder and urgency. These tiny lights, once common and magical, are disappearing due to pollution, habitat loss, and climate change. We are living in a moment where we might be seeing the last fireflies unless we act to protect what's left. At the same time, fireflies can be a symbol for how small actions or voices, like those of individuals or local activists, can still shine in the darkness, reminding us that even the smallest light matters. While climate is a global issue, the way we organize and tackle it in different parts of the world is highly influenced by the local perspective. We have to create narratives that meet people where they are at. Eastern Europe and Balkans are very specific contexts, and their political, economical, and ecological histories are always entangled with the possibilities we may envision. While sharing many of the privileges and responsibilities of the global North, CE and Balkan countries have experienced years of oppression, poverty, and injustice themselves. The goal isn't to claim that people from these regions are the true victims, but to show how the region's particular historical experience brings depth and complexity to the frequently simplified notion of Europe. We, the hosts, are all living in Romania, and our conversations will surely be influenced by that. We think that the perspective of Eastern Europe and Balkans is not reflected enough in the climate narratives, which tend to be all-encompassing, as if we are all in the same boat. Unfortunately, we aren't.
Just a few words about us so you get to know us a little better. I'm Em, a writer and an anti-species scholar activist. I study sociology, but more importantly, I've been involved in various climate movements or actions since 2019 when I was part of the Fridays for Future in Romania. And I really want to do more, but I live pretty far away from the places in which street-level organizing happens. So I guess this podcast is my way of contributing.
I'm Ani, and I'm a person that deeply values feminist and anarchist practices. I like to be surrounded by books and plants and take long walks into the forest. Over the years, I was part of climate collectives, labor unions, radical social spaces, and feminist and cultural organizations, from which I've learned a multitude of tools, skills, ways of thinking and organizing. So these really different backgrounds gave me the chance to imagine a better world. And for me, coming together and sharing stories of possibilities is always a good first step. Regaining our imagination is essential. And that's how I want to contribute to this podcast.
And I am Robbie. That's all that I wrote in our notes. But I guess if I had to describe myself, I am an activist and a researcher. I am involved in various anarchist and left-leaning collectives here locally where I live. And I do research relating to solar energy, photovoltaics, and aerosols. And I am the nerd of the group, so that is what I'm bringing to the podcast. You could call it big nerd energy.
Yeah, that's just us, the hosts, but there are other people in this team who do the shadow work. So a big shout out to Marius and Yoni for mastering and montage, Mina for illustrating, and Theo for the team music composition.
We aim for our episodes to be out every other week, so tune in on Friday afternoons to The Last Fireflies. Nevertheless, our wish is to do this work in our own rhythm, and we are aware that sometimes there might be pressing subjects that we might not comment on. We don't want yet another platform that reacts to each pressing event. Social media especially can have this dynamic, and we intentionally try to not go down on that rabbit hole. So yes, you will hear from us every other week, but we want to mention that this is not our full-time job, and we don't want to transform it into duty.
We are a fully listener-supported podcast. We would not like to take out ads and stuff like that. However, our hope is for this project to become sustainable at some point and help us cover a part-time job for some of our members who are active in the climate movement. And if you would like to contribute towards that goal, then we invite you to subscribe to our Patreon account, where with the price of less than a coffee a month, you can contribute to making this project sustainable. Or if you want to contribute a one-time donation, you can do that through Ko-fi.
So follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram. If you have them, if you hate them, that's fine. Just follow us on Libsyn.